Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you for joining. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 2, and verse number 20. Vignaya Shapam Girishanugagranir Nandishwaro Rosa Kasaya Dusita Dakshaya Shapam Visasarcha Darunam Yechan Vamodam Tadavachatam Dvija Vignaya Shapam Girishanugagranir Nandishwaro Rosakasaya Dusita Dakshaya Shapam Visasarcha Darunam Yechan Vamodam Tadavacha Tandvija. Word to word. Vignaya, understanding. Shapam, the curse. Girisha, of Shiva. Anuga Agrani, one of the principal associates. Nandishwara, Nandishwara. Rosa, anger. Kasaya, red. Dusitaha, blinded. Dakshaya, to Daksha. Shapam, a curse. Visasarcha, gave. Darunam, harsh. Ye, who. Cha, and. Anvamodam, tolerated. Tat avachatam, the cursing of Shiva. Dvija, brahmanas. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Upon understanding that Lord Shiva had been cursed, Nandishvara, one of Lord Shiva's principal associates, became greatly angry. His eyes became red, and he prepared to curse Daksha and all the Brahmanas present there who had tolerated Daksha's cursing Shiva in harsh words. Purport. There is a long-standing dissension among some of the neophyte Vaishnavas and Shaivites. They are always at loggerheads. When Daksha cursed Lord Shiva in harsh words, some of the Brahmanas present might have enjoyed it, because some Brahmanas do not very much admire Lord Shiva. This is due to their ignorance of Lord Shiva's position. Nandishvara was affected by the cursing, but he did not follow the example of Lord Shiva, who was also present there. Although Lord Shiva could also have cursed Daksha in a similar way, he was silent and tolerant. But Nandishvara, his follower, was not tolerant. Of course, as a follower, it was right for him not to tolerate an insult to his master, but he should not have cursed the Brahmanas who were present. The entire issue was so complicated that those who were not strong enough forgot their positions, and thus cursing and counter cursing went on in that great assembly. In other words, the material field is so unsteady that even personalities like Nandishvara, Daksha, and many of the Brahmanas present were infected by the atmosphere of anger. We'll do Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parichana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamani Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatharini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Narayanam namaskritya naram cheva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamutire. Right, welcome again. This is Canto 4 to verse number 20. We read translation again. Upon understanding that Lord Shiva had been cursed, Nandishvara, one of Lord Shiva's principal associates, became greatly angry. His eyes became red, and he prepared to curse Daksha and all the Brahmanas present there who had tolerated Daksha's cursing Shiva in harsh words. This chapter starts with Vidura inquiring from Maitreya Muni about how these great personalities like Daksha and Lord Shiva and also Mother Sati, how she gave up her life and what is the quarrel that has happened between Lord Shiva and Daksha has been inquired. And there are a series of verses before this, how Daksha has cursed Lord Shiva. And from here on, Nandishvara counter curse. And of course, there are in the later verses, Bhrugumani also cursed back. So a lot of emotions flowing here, negative emotions. So these personalities are so great. We heard from the previous verses. Lord Shiva himself, he's uh, very gentle. He is a spiritual master of all in this material world. He is peaceful. We know he is the greatest devotee of all Vaishnavas, Vaishnavanam Yatashambho. Uh, so he's such a great personality. And in this assembly, there is also Lord Brahma, who is the father of Daksha, present there. And Daksha himself is also such a great personality. He is he's a progenitor of all living entities and the chief progenitor. So such a great personalities has to go through this quarrel. And Prabhupada writes in this purport that such is the nature of this material universe or material world, that it can bring quarrel among anyone, and what to speak of us. However, in this verse, when I read, I was thinking uh, there are two parts in this one. One, of course, the etiquette, and His Holiness Rupa Swami Maharaj always quotes Srila Prabhupada talking about anything of any defining anything, that there is what to do and what not to do, or even in our uh, nectar of instruction or nectar of devotion, the definition of pure devotional service given by Rupa Goswami, there is what it is and what it is not. This is mostly quoted. So here as well, we see there is what one should behave like when it comes to Vaishnava etiquette, and what one should not behave like. We see Nandishvara here and Daksha, two examples of how one cannot behave in such a situation. Those are the examples that we can learn, and how we should be behaving by seeing the example of Lord Shiva. And the quality here is given as tolerant, silence, and being tolerating. So this is one of the greatest quality of a Vaishnava. We also see other examples in Srimad Bhagavatam, not just in this. case, Lord Shiva, but there are many other great personalities to talk about. Vidura himself also, when Duryodhana was angry, cursing, he left. He was tolerant, not just for that time, but the entire past episodes between Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana. He was tolerant, and now he took that as an opportunity at the end to leave the kingdom. And then he took an opportunity to go to all the holy places. That's how we see him meeting Maitreya Muni in this case and asking all these inquiries. So it, it only helped him by being tolerant. Even Lord himself, Lord Sri Krishna, was insulted many times by Shishupala, and he was being tolerant for many reasons. And the other examples that we can think of is Draupadi being insulted in the assembly. She took shelter of the Lord at the end, and therefore Lord protected her. And Maharaj was giving an example of how Karna, in, he was also envious of Pandavas in the battlefield when Mother Kunti approached Lord Karna, the Karna. Uh, she was asked to not fight or be in favor of Pandavas, but Karna gave a promise to Duryodhana because he helped him. And he was so envious that he said to Kunti that you will still have 5 Pandavas or 5 of your sons uh, not dying. Like, in other words, he will not kill other Pandavas, but except Arjuna. So that tells us he's envious of him, of his uh, abilities. Uh, so there are so many other examples in Srimad Bhagavatam and in our scriptures about how one being envious and two, how the other is tolerating in despite of all those insults. So these are there are many ways, not just in scriptures, in our day-to-day life, uh, or more contemporary examples, like Prabhupada has tolerated in his movement, especially in the beginning, how when he came to New York, Boston, or even after starting the movement from several other so-called scholars, and he tolerated his disciples, understanding the nature where they are coming from. Therefore, the movement has been successful. He saw this larger picture. And here, Lord Shiva also tolerated. And towards the next few verses, we will learn that how Shiva has left at the end. He has been morose and he left the assembly. We see Brahma also tried to stop the quarrel, but it didn't end it so well. So, what caused this quarrel? Started with Daksha. He is being so envious. That's that's the number one. He's very envious of Lord Shiva's position. Later, Mother Sati wants to marry him, and upon the request of Lord Brahma, he gave her daughter to Lord Shiva. But he was envious already at that time. He tried as much as he can, but he couldn't. And when he entered the assembly, he took that as an opportunity, quoting other dharma or other religious principles, like how one son-in-law behaves towards a father-in-law. But he did not see the much higher position of Lord Shiva. So we discussed Lord Shiva's position already in one of the previous Maharaj when he was visiting here. He gave some classes, especially during Lord Shiva, uh, Shivaratri, in that auspicious day. How Lord Shiva, it's very difficult to understand his tattva. Uh, he has different places where he resides. He lives. He resides in spiritual world. He resides in material world. He's a guru. So there's his position is much higher uh, than what we sometimes think is one of the other demigods is not. Uh, and in this quarrel, we can only see uh, positive side of what has happened to Lord Shiva. I think in previous verse, Prabhupada quotes or Prabhupada writes in purport that it only helped Lord Shiva not to be entangled in this materialistic oblations that one may perform during a sacrifice. So the curse that Daksha given to Lord Shiva is that he will not take part in this sacrifice. He will not receive any oblations. So that continued, and all the demigods, he doesn't have to take part or be with other demigods in these sacrifices. So that is only a blessing for Lord Shiva, whatever is cursed. So that's it's such a great position of Lord Shiva. One cannot take it very easily and offend such a Vaishnava due to one's ignorance. So envy, lust, anger, these are an obstacles to us. The first instruction in Nectar of Instruction talks about the same. Vacho vegam, manasa krodha vegam, jihva vegam, udropastha vegam, etan vegan, vishayet dhiraha, sarvan apimam na shishyat, kuru na shishyat. I think I'm missing something, but the urge to control, one need to tolerate all these urges, one anger, speech, uh, mind's actions, and eating, like what we eat, belly, and genitals. So there are 6 kinds of urges that one need to tolerate, and when one tolerates that, then one can even become a spiritual master of the entire world. And of course, Lord Shiva is one of them. That he has such a great quality. So how to cure this? And the the recently concluded Vaishnava etiquette series given by His Holiness Rampada Swami Maharaj and Her Grace Urmila Mataji, they hit the same topic, and that is respect. Two primary things that Maharaj quotes is mana and dana. One is being charitable, and one is being or showing respect and being humble, uh, especially to the superiors. So I was thinking how one can be humble, how one can give respect when he's so envious already. And in one of those lectures, Maharaj quotes Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's some of his writings, and there Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that there are 4 levels of envy. One is it starts, it's more subtler to a grosser. The first one is looking down on others. That is the first level. And then second comes avoiding others. And then comes showing hatred towards others. And the last, which is much more grosser, comes criticizing others. So Daksha is in a level where he criticized. Uh, so he cannot see himself that is envious. So he has crossed the stages. So in this more subtler level, one can reflect in in the mode of goodness. And whenever he's self-reflecting, one can uh, recognize that he is envious when he's in a level where he's looking down on others or he's avoiding others, that we know sometimes we do it intentionally. I don't want to talk to this person because for whatever reason. And we can feel that later on, why am I not doing well, and we give ourselves some reasons. But there are in these levels that one can recognize that we are envious, or someone tapping on our shoulder saying some hint, or Lord within our heart giving that direction. There are some ways that we'll find out that we are envious of another person. So how can we give respect in such a case? So better to know when we are in this much more beginning levels of envy. It's better to cure ourselves by respecting the same person. It's interesting that everything that we need to do in this material world in order to attain spiritual world is quite opposite of what we don't want to do. We don't want to respect that person because we are angry upon that person. But what to do? That is the only way. We need to show the respect to the same person. That's the only way. That's the only cure. When we give up our anger, when we give up our enviousness, that's when Krishna looks into us, who is already present within our heart, and see how we are progressing. So that is the nature of Vaishnava. If one needs to cross that obstacle, then one needs to face it bravely. Tolerance is again not a weakness. Lord Shiva leaving the assembly is not showing the sign of weakness. It is more of a conscious decision. It's more composed and more conscious choice that he had make. So sometimes we feel, oh, someone cursing us. It's if someone is leaving that place, it's not that he's weak. It is actually, it is his weapon rather than his weakness. Choosing peace over pointless battles. uh, Lord Shiva has experienced it. Nandishwar, one of his own associates, has been cursing back and is seeing other great personalities like sages, Brahmanas cursing back to Shiva's devotees and followers. So he just left being morose. So now one may think, is this Lord's plan? Like, why is this happening to Lord Shiva? Or, or is it pure ignorance? Whatever is happening, I there are both in this. It is Lord's plan, maybe we can see that way, because Prabhupada writes, oh, Shiva has been, in a way, it's a blessing in disguise. He doesn't have to take part in these material oblations performed in sacrifices along with other demigods. He's not a material, other kind of a demigod like Indra and other fire gods or others. So he is a Vaishnava. So Krishna saved him. Maybe that is a blessing. But it is also ignorance, like how others, Nandeshwar and other associates, has take part in this cursing and counter cursing. It is also ignorance. And Krishna is just witnessing all of them. We heard in some of the other, I think, others verses, like Krishna is nimitta matram. He is just witnessing. He's not material, or he doesn't uh, compare to any materialistic quality or material things. So these are different offenses one can make. It starts with envy, anger, and there is no cure. Uh, if we advance in that enviousness, the only thing is we need to take shelter of the Lord. And that's what we see at the end, towards the end of after the sacrifice and the big fight happens. Daksha has taken shelter of Lord Shiva. He has been killed, but he brought back into life with the goat's head, and therefore, at the time, Daksha has surrendered to Lord Shiva, to a Vaishnava. So we don't need to go through all these battles. Better surrender, and we need to take that shelter of the Lord. We were reading Srimad Bhagavatam or Chaitanya Charitamrita as appearance of Lord. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is coming soon next week. We have started in a reading group. In one of those verses, it's mentioned that uh, the Lord is the only Ashraya, and everyone else, including the material elements, are considered as Ashrita, one who takes shelter. So we need to take shelter of the Lord to overcome this. We have 3 more minutes. I was thinking what else we can do. Uh, The the one way we can overcome is to whenever there's a practical application I felt is to get into the mode of that goodness when we are in a good mood, when we feel like uh, how I can advance in my spiritual life. One way is to get to that self-reflection mode and see uh, how our how my actions towards this person or that person, and how can I rectify it, maybe by asking for forgiveness or uh, giving gifts. That is one of the lesson that we learned in the recent lectures of Vaishnava etiquette. There is charity. Charity can be good words, pleasing words, also not just money or things, and most importantly, showing respect to others. So sometimes uh, I don't know how many feel like this. I used to feel, okay, I'm attending Sunday feast, taking nice darshan of Lord Radhasham Sundar and other lordships, and come back and come to my own routine. So I had this question in my uh, mind. I thought I will ask to Maharaj, but he answered in a already with Vaishnava etiquette series, and even before that, in one of the home programs. So I feel like, okay, I'm taking nice darshan. Lord is so kind and so merciful. Uh, in the Acha Vigraha form, He's also showing mercy to us. And the question I had is how we can, or how I can carry that consciousness, the mercy that He's giving to me when we take darshan, how I can carry that consciousness after I leave the temple. So Maharaj was saying, with respect to this Vaishnava etiquette, that it's in the chapter 329, Canto 329, the devotional service explanation from Lord Kapila, that you carry that what after you see the Lord, you realize that the Lord is within our heart as a super soul. He's present in our heart as a super soul. So you go out of the temple. Then this is my understanding. You go out of the temple and feel that Lord is also present in others' heart. That way you show respect to others. So that that has given a I don't that that's a good realization for me that you can put it in practice where you go and you also carry that consciousness to respect others, to see everyone else as your superior in one or the other way and show respect. All right, I think we have 8 o'clock right now. I'll end it here. If anyone has other comments or questions, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, this is Sachi Sutadas. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Very nice class, Prabhu, neatly summarized and about the importance. I really like the point how Lord Shiva consciously took the choice of a peace over the pointless persons. That was very inspiring. That also brought a point. Few years ago, I personally involved in doing an ethnographic study. So, ethnographic study is a kind of a demographic study of various cultures. So, that was related to saving habits. How Chinese, how Indians, and how other various cultural people promote saving habits in youth. So for that study, when I was performing, I also derived some secondary or tertiary output, which is actions and behaviors, which is like people get easily disturbed, and that leads to ego. Like especially we all have faced some. Especially in Indian, coming from Indian background, people the common thing that I say when someone is living in the US or in the West, they get disturbed just because we are living here.
Mm,
So that leads to lot of envious actions, subtle or tangible actions. And this envy is a kind of a pulling mechanism. Though we don't want to be participate, that will also pull us there because it's thrown on. us.
mm.
And the coming to the point, like how Shiva really took the conscious choice is a good lessons that I liked from your class today, being calm and not to get agitated. Like I also learned like Shiva is Ashatosha, like one who can easily pleased and also like he gets anger. But he really remains calm, and definitely the presence of a super soul Antaryami in Shiva's heart also, and it's worshipable Lord. That's very wonderful, Prabhu. Thank you very much for this class.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you for your comment.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Very nice class, very practical class too. The point, the sequence that you shared. So, we heard in the retreat uh, about the ill effects or the demerits of envy, simply put, or like put it in a very kind manner. We also heard how the method is mana and dana, but then you spoke about what is to be done while we are in that envious position, right? We know that mana and dana is our method. We know envy is not good, but we are in the fire of it. So you spoke about coming to the mode of goodness. You spoke about introspection, and then you spoke about this the way to overcome an obstacle is to really face it. So yeah, I mean, I was appreciating that point, and how we overcome will probably depend on situation to situation. What we really do, what does facing really mean, and but yeah, the starting point is to recognize it, and for that we need to come to mode of goodness. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. I like the way you try to uh, uh, hear and you try to understand. You summarize pretty well. I would look up to you how you hear attentively. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Shri, how is Shri Prabhupada? Dhanavad pranam.
Uh, Prabhu, I have a question. So I know you mentioned these qualities like being tolerant, being respectful to others, looking up to our seniors. But like we see in our day-to-day lives, like mostly at workplace, like sometimes these qualities to maintain our job and daily duties is not enough. So like sometimes we have to transgress these qualities in order to like do our daily duties. So can you give us some tips on how can we keep this instructions of scriptures in our mind at the same time, do our job duties as well, like how to strike a balance between the teachings and practicality of day-to-day material life.
Yes, uh, something coming to me is how Maharaj says, so it depends on our nature and our role in our work. So as if you're a manager, sometimes you may need to show that discipline and uh, that hardness towards your employees, not in a way that you're punishing them, but the uh, it depends on the role that you're taking. And again, with respect, there is respect also. It's not like your subordinate is something that you can do anything. You're not a boss, you're just managing their work. So depending on your role, I feel one need to act and not to disturb with our words. Something's coming into my mind is if you're interacting with others, yes, we face many other people, especially if we are practicing devotees. Now we hear all these classes and you go and you face quite opposite nature. It is good. I mean, without that, I feel there is no, I mean, without facing those obstacles, I feel we cannot progress. We need such an obstacle, I feel like personally. That's when you hear from such a great devotees and then you put it into practice. If you don't, if you don't have that uh, situation on your end, how we can practice? Prabhupada says, or Maharaj quoted, don't become and don't blame an instrument of your karma. So it's I'm not saying that now you lose your self-respect. There are so many ways to learn in our work environment or in our personal day to day. If someone is cursing you, you draw a boundary line. You learn to draw a boundary line, not losing your self-respect. Uh, and someone is giving you an feedback, you come to that mode without reacting it, and then you come to a mode of goodness and see, is it a good feedback to me where I can improve? So you go and give that gratitude towards them. So there are so many opportunities everywhere. And also fault finding is a very big aparat that comes from, I feel, in our day-to-day dealings. We easily fault find on other devotees or employees or anybody. So where we can actually learn from there. So we don't need to fault find, not just Vaishnavas, any person, as Maharaj says, everyone is respectable. So when we see these qualities in our side, other person will automatically, you know, respect us back. Not to expect from them, but they will. It's natural to give us respect. Automatically, it's you give, and that's what you receive it from others. Yeah, I don't know if I answered your question, but I feel it is when obstacles come our way, I think it is a blessing where we can learn more.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. You answered beautifully. Thank you. Nice class. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I know we have 10 minutes over. Any last comment or question? Okay, thank you. I know Lakshmikant Prabhu cannot be here.
Prabhu,
Mancha,
if sorry,
sorry. Yeah, tell me, Prabhu.
Prabhu, if you have more time, maybe I could ask something else. Uh, so sometimes,
Yes.
Prabhu, we see that you know we are we are like we have to associate with non-devotees, right? And regardless of like what is our practice, like how we are doing, how nicely we are doing our bhakti, we see that their association has a subtle impact on us. and then we notice it later on that, oh, I know where that is coming from. This is coming from an association, and that association we cannot avoid. Like, we have to see these people day-to-day basis. We have to sometimes act, in a certain way just to please them, which might not be favorable towards our bhakti. So I just wanted to ask, how can I balance, these uh, day-to-day situation, like where I have to no matter what, like no matter what my sadhana is or the instructions is. So it's like sometimes I have to just like transgress those. Like, I have no choice.
Yes, Prabhu, thank you for asking that question. I would two things. Maharaj says, don't use the word balance because we cannot do both at the same time. They are quite opposite in nature. Uh, Second, coming to my mind is when you when you are in such an association and you know that it is slightly affecting you, what it tells me or tell yourself, if you come back to that reflective mode, you're receiving their association rather than giving your association. If it's a subtle thing in what I just said, like when you give your association, then you will not feel the same impact as you feel. It's actually good to associate with others. Otherwise, how we can preach what Srila Prabhupada has given us to everyone else? So you're in such an association, it's a good thing. You only give rather than taking from them. What do you give is it depends on your relationship with them. You can cook nice prasadam. You can bring them to temple or chant one round with them, or I don't know. It depends on each relationship. But if it is like a party mode of thing and you don't want to avoid them, it is. I mean, there are some boundaries where we can draw. So we know that is a big no, where there is all kinds of breaking up of regulative principles. So you call draw a boundary line. Sorry, I cannot be here, but I can come visit later. Yeah, I hope you understand.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, thank you.
I would like to Varsana Mataji. I know others are present to add anything, but yeah, that's what coming to my mind. Thank you.
Oh no, you made wonderful points, Prabhu, and what you're speaking is based from Rupa Goswami's 6 principles. So, and definitely, like for example, the giving prasadam and accepting prasadam, giving gifts and accepting gifts, it is for people who are on our level and lower to our level, right? Like Anishta and Madhyama, or like peers and newcomers. Let's put it that way. But the inquiring submissively and just hearing from them some in a confidential manner, that happens with senior devotees. So I'm just piggybacking on what you just said, that inquiry, inquiring and hearing from affects our consciousness the most, and that needs to be done with devotees and not with uh, you know
Mm,
anybody and everybody from outside. And that too, you do that with people that you trust,
mm,
not with
yes,
even not even with every devotee. Somebody needs to understand your mood, so you have to be careful when you do that. So
yes.
that's what's coming to my mind, but you put it so wonderfully, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you for commenting, Mataji. It's very important to share our heart with only few people. Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you. All right, we'll end. It's too late already. Thank you. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha krupasindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.